I started playing for the club in 1987. I was a late arrival to the pre-season program, and I played in a practice match here, and I think I got one possession. The game was a bit of looking back now, the game was a bit of a blur. I trained on the Thursday night, didn't know any names, and suddenly out in the playing field and sort of worked off the ground thinking what's just happened. It was full on. One of the things that stands out for me during my playing time was that a lot of VFA clubs were folding, and Dandenong, Oakley, Brunswick, Sunshine, Geelong West clubs kept folding, and we were doing a lot of things behind the scenes here to make sure that this club survived. And I can remember shaking tins out on Whitehorse Road twice during the off season to raise a couple of $100 to help pay some of the bills for the club to allow us to get into the next season. And it's a small detail, but that moment there with my teammates where we had a bit of a laugh out on Whitehorse Road, the money that we raised has sort of helped us stay alive. And that's one of the great things now. We can drive past that intersection and look in here and think, yeah, I used to play at City Oval. Facebook's a good way for connecting with our teammates, but more importantly, when I'm out and about in the eastern suburbs now, I constantly bump into people who are now parents that I played footy with. And having stayed here post my playing career and being behind the scenes as a specialist coach and assistant coach, it was every single game that I was here, there'd be somebody walking around in the crowd that had worn the jumper for Box Hill, and it was always nice to catch up with them and have a bit of a laugh and to reminisce about the days when we were out there running around getting a kick. All up, I spent 25 years here as either a player or a coach, and it's a sliding door moment. You know, as a 20-year-old when I walked into this joint and Harold Martin scared the living daylights out of me as the senior coach at the time, and I was 80 kilograms, if that. And to think back on that moment, how underprepared I was, to see that Box Hill's had such a lasting impact on my life is, just a happy thought for me and something I'm incredibly proud of. I think the VFL is an incredible competition, and the amount of work that the players put into competing at that level every weekend I think is amazing. I can recall having during my coaching time here, having defenders come up to me and ask me for advice about, what was it like in your day? And I can safely say that when I played full back here, I barely left the goal square and the forward 50 was empty, and it was me and Jamie Shaw or Reno Petto or Keith Robertson, and everyone else was get out. And I said, my experience doesn't really doesn't help you, because nowadays the forwards and the defenders are pushing up and back constantly, because the game has become such a fast moving, free flowing type of footy, which is almost unrecognisable to the VFA footy that I started with. So my first playing jumper that I only played reserves footy in and no longer fits me, I was given jumper number 39 at the end of season feedback session with the coach Harold Martin and Sid Saunders. They made it very clear to me that I was the 39th best player at the club and shouldn't complain about the fact that I wasn't getting much of a go in the reserves. And I took it on the chin and decided to make sure I trained really hard over the pre-season just to get myself into the senior side. And years later, when I was named captain of the club, I was asked, would I like to change from jumper number 39 and accept jumper number 1? And I knocked back the offer on the grounds that the number 39 meant so much to me because it was a reminder to me of where I'd come from. And I stuck with it. As a coach a few years ago, I wanted to find out a little bit more about the white horse. I'd already heard the stories about Brian Coughlin, urging the team to play like Mustangs, but I wanted to go back a little bit further. So I checked in with a local historical society, and they shared with me a story about how post-World War One, a returned soldier had a farm out here on the track that ran from the city to Hillsville, and he had a white horse, and people often referred to this area as that farm or that paddock where the white horse was running around. And I grew up in the eastern suburbs. I'd seen Box Hill's success in the 84 and 86 grand final, so it was an absolute thrill for me to finally receive the jumper and to put it on and to run around representing the Mustangs, and I'm still a passionate Mustang person, and also to have that white horse on my jumper meant the world to me.